right, it is April 2nd, a Wednesday, 2025. Liberation Day. Yesterday was April Fool's Day. Today's Liberation Day. Maybe I got the days mixed up. Who knows? We'll find out, I guess. Hey, I was driving through town here, and I'm like, okay, now all the cars come. But seriously, I thought, okay, that's why. I'm looking at the school. Nobody's at the school. It must be spring break or something. Because I'm coming into town. I had to drop the dogs off for grooming. Coming into town, and I'm like, wait a minute. This is like some kind of Stephen King novel or something. Nobody's around. I mean, it was just very, almost desolate from what I'm used to. Not such a bad drive for Westwood today. Not that many people out. This thing's all crooked. Story of my life. All right, there we go. So, yeah, Liberation Day today, that's what it's called. The tariffs go into effect, and it's going to fix everything, solve all our problems, and then we won't have to pay taxes anymore because the tariffs are going to cover it, and we're all going to live happily ever after. Maybe. All right, put it on cruise control. Yeah, it's hard to say what's going to happen there. Nothing's going to change unless you stop the grift, you stop the spending. I mean, you basically cut off all of the unnecessary things. Will that happen? I don't know. I don't think it will, just because there's too many people involved in it at high levels that have built empires of dirt, empire of shiz. That, how do you root that out? I mean, this has been ongoing, I mean, really since 1913, but in earnest after World War II. I mean, all these intelligence agencies, all of these cooperations have grown up, you know, these dark handshakes between government, enterprises, you know, I don't want to say mafia, but, you know, just organized efforts from other entities. I mean, there's a protected interest, there's a vested interest in many pockets, and then sometimes those pockets, you know, they're touching each other, you know, the hands reach out and shake each other across the, you know, the waistline, I guess, but it happens. It's just like, how do you get rid of that is the point. How do you get rid of that? And yeah, a few billion here, a few billion there, that's great. But it really doesn't matter. What difference at this point does it make? And that's exactly the issue. We're overspending, I think the last time I looked was $2.2 trillion. $2.2 trillion a year extra that we need as a U.S. corporation to function, to pay all the bills. Okay, Elon said, hey, we may be able to cut $1 trillion by, I don't even know, summer or something. Okay, that's great, $1 trillion. You're still going into debt over $1 trillion a year. Still, even after all these cuts, and nobody's gotten arrested for all the criminal activity, it's fine. You know, you got gardening friggin' monthly stipends for Michelle Obama, you know, since they left the White House, and now that's been cut. But who goes to prison? Who gets tried? Who gets convicted? I mean, if we don't have a system of justice where people get convicted, tried for their crimes and convicted for their crimes, then it's not, you know, what's the point? I mean, it's just all lip service at this point. We'll see what happens. I've been waiting patiently, but a lot of people have been waiting patiently, and I think there's a lot of frustration out there. Many people are getting tired of, you know, hey, this is supposed to happen, that's supposed to happen, you know. Meanwhile, you look at the people in charge and you think, where are their alliances and where is their loyalty really? You gotta ask yourself that. Little less talk and a lot more action. That's what everybody's looking for. So we'll see, Liberation Day or April Fool's Day. You decide. I saw that Val Kilmer passed away. If you don't know who Val Kilmer is, he was in Top Gun, opposite Tom Cruise, in a lot of movies. There was one where I think he lost his eyesight. I can't remember. It was like Mira Sorvino in that movie. What was the name of that movie? It's a really good movie. It made me cry. It was, yeah, gosh darn it. I think it was Mira Sorvino. Can't remember. Forgot more than I've ever learned. But it was a great movie. I guess that's the point. A lot of my points. I can't always remember the details, but I remember the forest, and I remember how the forest made me feel. So you're asking me for details. You know, I'm not good with that. I'm just not. But I'm good with the big flavors and the big emotions and the big smells and tastes. You know, I know it when I smell it. I'm like, I know that smell. I don't know what it's called, but I know that smell, and I know the emotions that are attached to it, and the frequencies that are attached to it, and all the memories, all that stuff. More of a spiritual guy, I guess you could say, rather than an analytical guy. So anyway, what is that movie? I can't remember what it... I think it was Mira Sorvino in it. Could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it was Val Kilmer. He went blind and lost his sight, and gosh darn it. Look it up. Anyway, Val Kilmer, it sucks. The guy was only 65 years old, man. Not that far away. So, go watch some of his movies today. I'm sure those are going to spike in interest. I saw also that... Okay, I went to Dollar General after I dropped the dogs off. And they were standing outside having a cigarette, the two ladies, and it was 8 o'clock on the dot. Boom, they unlocked the door, and I was taking the dogs in and coming out, and I looked over, and I'm like, I'll stop in the Dollar General. I don't know why. You know, maybe something popped into my head attached to Dollar General that I wanted, and boom. So I go into Dollar General. Going to Dollar General, and I got some of those little bowls, and I've rambled on about not being able to get styrofoam bowls anymore, but they did have some styrofoam plates on clearance, so I picked up a few of those. And so I go to the checkout. I said, this register, because they have two, one's always open, never know, it's like hit and miss, roll the dice, you know, which one, red or black? Oh, sorry, it's green, sir, you know, we can't come to ring the bell. So she's like, oh, this one. And they were really nice ladies. She said, oh, she's in training today, so she's good. I said, that's great. Oh, that's wonderful. And so we had a little conversation, talking about putting the bills certain directions, and, you know, and what they do when they take the money, and, you know, but your general's facing the same way, that kind of thing. So it was nice, great conversation. You know, I told them to have a nice day, and I felt like, you know what? That was great interaction. Hopefully on her first day, you know, she had a good experience with some guy that showed up right when the doors open. Gotta love that. But I think I left her with a good, some good thoughts for the day, and hopefully that makes her day. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, it's our attitude and how we choose to look at things. We can look at them negatively and say, gosh darn it, this effing world, this effing planet, these effing politicians, all these effers, sick of them. All they do is ruin my life and suck my energy out, vampires. I do have a problem with that. But on the other side of it, it's like, you know what? What kills the vampire? The light. They don't like garlic either. Eat a lot of garlic. It's that whole parasitic thing. But, I mean, you either choose to live, you know, in darkness and let the vampire, you know, attack you, or you can try to live in light and hopefully ward that vampire back and not make it a part of your existence. There are a lot of times thought creates reality. I really believe that. You can manifest these, the wind blew these cat dishes. I don't want to run it over. Careful, Westwood. So a lot of times, manifest your reality. Road to hell, paved with unhit cat dishes. All right, so take the glasses off. Some like the glasses, some don't. I have two pair. These are, take the glasses off. Dog dad today because I'm taking the dogs to the groomer. That's what I do. But manifesting your own reality is very important. I've seen it in my own life. If I get negative, you know, usually, you know, great things don't happen. If I'm positive and I look at things and I'm like, you know, whatever, you know, because you get mad at anything. All right. I'm just trying to think of it. Today, taking the dogs, go up the road, go to the stop sign. Two cars are coming from my right. You know, you get the headlights on. The first one, I'm like, oh, I could make it. And I didn't. And I'm like, why take the chance? You know, because I'm going left. I'm going to get in front of them. And so I watch, and so as they come up, they're going slower than I thought. I'm like, man, I could have pulled out in front of them. Now I'm going to be behind them. And then there was another car, you know, so I couldn't get between the gap. And so I'm like, you know what? Why? And I told myself, I said, why do I care? What am I upset about? I'm taking the dogs to get groomed. I'm early anyway. I'm always early. So what difference at this point does it make? What difference does it make that I happen to get in front of that car? What is in your competitive nature that you have to do that? You know, and this is all going through my head. And so I sat there and I reset and I said, who cares? Why do I care? Why am I in a hurry? I mean, why am I in a hurry? Seriously, I work from home. I can work anywhere. You know, I take my phone and, you know, it's a struggle. You know, it's not as easy if I don't have a laptop and, you know, computer, you know, iPad and all this stuff going. I mean, it's, you know, I can still do it though. I can work anywhere. And so why am I so upset, you know, that I can't get in front of this freaking car? when, where am I getting? It's not like, driving a fire truck or something, I have to get somewhere and, hose down a freaking fire that, save somebody. No, it's not that. So, it's just all about perspective. It really is. I really do. You manifest your reality, because I could have manifested a bad day. I could have gotten angry. I could have pulled out in front of them. They could have flashed the lights, even though, I was far enough ahead. Honked the horn, done this, and I would have been like, all upset about it. And then now my blood pressure's up. Now I'm a little more agitated. Now I'm a little more upset. I'm a little more irritable. Going to town, next thing I know, the dogs, they don't want to get out of the car. Well, they never want to get out of the car. And instead of being nice and gentle and coaxing them out, I could have said, get out of the car. What are you doing? You got to get groomed. But instead, they want to be with me. They don't want to leave. They don't want to go to the groomer because they're going to be there for like 4 hours. And I know it's a long time. I got to go back and pick them up. So all of this could have spiraled into something else. And then I could have been angry and said, man, I got to go into this Dollar General. These frickers, they stopped selling styrofoam bowls, but let me go in there and check. Go in there and they're just opening up, and instead of being nice about it, I could have been effing Dollar General, stupid styrofoam government regulation, whatever that. I could have been upset, because all this is weighing on me. A series of unfortunate events. But instead, no, reverse. Do that. And sitting at the stop sign, like, why am I in a hurry? Why do I care about that car? Why do I need to get in front of that car? Who cares? Who really cares? So I let the 2 cars go by. I pull out, breeze down the road on cruise control, playing a little George Jones, got a beer can and a cup holder. Everything's great, Good morning. It's all about attitude. I know that. I've always known that. It's just that putting that into practice is the difficult thing. We have to consciously or subconsciously, or just do it, at some deeper level, just say, stop yourself from what you're doing, and what does it really matter in the big scheme of things? Is it working towards some sort of well-being? Am I leaning or looming towards something greater, something better? Or am I taking it the other way and being just, wallowing in the misery of life, worrying about everything, worrying that this is going to get fixed, worrying that this person, instead of just living in the because ultimately it comes down to all we are a bunch of what? Little tiny cells, organisms, molecules, atoms bouncing around against each other. We're really not even here. We're ethereal. Really, we are. And I think we all know that. And so just engage this life and be happy. You chose to come back here. I chose to come back here. And I'm thinking on that cosmic school bus, yeah, that's what it is, a short bus. No, that cosmic bus stop, when we're at the crossroads and we're sitting up there and having the conversation. Boy, that didn't go so well last time on that planet, did it? Yeah, let's go try it out on Earth. I don't know, man, that Earth can be a real living hell sometimes. Yeah, but it's really pretty, it's beautiful, there's a lot of great things. Come on, let's go. I don't want to go. Come on, let's go. I really don't want to go. All right. But what if you could go and this could happen? That sounds pretty good. Never experienced that before. And so you decide to go. But to get to that point, that moment of, elation or whatever you contracted into or decided to come here for, to get to that point, you got to go through a lot of crap. There's a lot of things that you have to go through. But you have to think about all of the moments in your life that bring you great joy, that elevate your soul, that puts you toward an ascension. You think of those moments and would you trade those? Even though every day it can be a struggle, even the little things can be a struggle. You can't make them a struggle. That's the key. But even though you have all these things, it's just those moments of exhilaration, exaltation of the soul that would you give that up? Really, it makes it all worth it, this tragic human condition. So soak in those moments, find those moments, seek those moments out, try to be positive, because all the little positive things add up to more. I'm in a good mood now because, I had a great interaction with 2 ladies at Dollar General. I feel pretty good. And that could have went a whole different direction. And it could have been because I made a bad decision, you know, instead of just letting things flow, letting the universe flow. And I always said that to my buddy Mitch. I'm like, hey, man, you know, when you're going through hard times, just get in the canoe and float down that stream, float down that river. I mean, life is going to take you where it's going to take you. You've already got a path. I mean, you kind of came here for that. And in order to get to, you know, those things that you came here to experience, you just kind of let it go and just, you know, whatever happens, happens, and you deal with it. And I'm not always the best at doing that. I know that, but I know what I'm talking about. And I know that it works that way. And if everybody thought that way, I mean, what a much better world it would be instead of this nonsense. I mean, engaging in, you know, this physical, oh crap. I mean, I don't even know. It's just, I don't know. At some point, you just kind of see beyond everything and you see through everything, and it becomes beautiful. And you have to embrace that. You know, the romantic poets, when I was in college, those, you know, Coleridge, Keats, Shelley, Blake was the one that kind of started that school of thought. The romanticism in England, in Europe. I mean, just that reconnection with, you know, that God source that runs through nature. I mean, to be, you know, it's romantic, it's idealistic, it is, but man, it elevates the soul. I mean, it puts you in a different state of mind, and being in that different state of mind causes you to act better in this physical world. And I just wish we would just stop and just calm down a little bit, you know, and just engage the world in a positive way. And so that's, as my video yesterday, if you saw it, first one in like a month, because that's the only time I get in the car. Seriously, I hadn't been in the car in like a month. And, you know, here I am 2 days in a row. But that video about going to Vegas, you know, it's no April Fool's joke. You know, I'm going. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I will do it. And I feel like I have to do it. And I felt like that, you know, in the past, you know, with Litecoin, with the community, with just meeting people. There's a reason for me to be there. And when you feel that, when you don't know why sometimes, you just do it because you feel like it's right and your soul's telling you to do it, you know, and you just don't deny it. Just do it. Get there, you know, because you don't know who you're going to meet, what kind of experiences you're going to have. And that's so important. I would not know. I don't even know how many friends I'd have right now if I didn't, you know, engage and go out and go to meetups. Lisa and I went out, the lovely Litecoin Lisa, went out to many meetups. I mean, I met her in 2019 at the Blanco, Texas. And then, you know, we did meetups that year, you know, a few meetups, Jersey. And then 2021, I mean, we went all over the place and met so many great people. Some of you know who you are. And I mean, I would not have that experience every day. You know, I would not be like, oh, hey, what's everybody talking about in the chat? You know, I'm being excited to get in there. I would not have that experience. I'd be living a life of quiet desperation, which is not a good thing. I would not have that experience if I hadn't done those things and gone out. And yeah, you know, I have this platform where I talk, that's one thing to engage online, but to actually meet somebody, it's a whole different thing. I mean, feel that energy exchange. That's why I hug people. I mean, it's that energy exchange, and that's what we're here for. We're electric beings, you know. What is it? Whitman had that poem. It's "Sing the Body Electric" or something was one of the lines. I don't know. Like, again, I forget, you know. It's the forest, man. It's the forest, not the individual tree, all right? You get the flavor? You get the vibe that I'm putting out? That's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, that's why I'm going to Vegas. Because I've had so many good experiences in the past. And yeah, I mean, it's a struggle for me to go on the road. I mean, it is. It really is. You know, it's so much easier to be in my comfort zone, my sanctuary, but I don't grow that way. You know, I feel like I kind of die that way and I kind of wither. And I don't like that. You know, I feel like I want to stay alive. And I mean, being around that energy and good people, you know, it keeps me alive. And so, yeah, that's why I'm going. Man, there's great people out there. And yeah, Vegas is a hellhole. I mean, yeah, it's a sin city. Yeah, it's horrible. But it's all about perspective. You know, and that's one thing I'm not going to allow myself to fall into is let that darkness overcome me and just let that energy hit me. It's just like, no, I'm just going to be positive about it. You know, I'm looking for the great experiences and the great people. And you know what? That's my focus. I'm going to see through all that nonsense. See through that matrix. because that's all it is. What you carry in here's the truth inside. Can't see it right there. That's what it comes down to. So I think we're at a time. A lot of people are talking astrologically that we had the blood moon, eclipse, a solar eclipse. I mean, we're passing through different, I don't know any of that stuff. I don't know anything about it. I just know that people have told me that we are entering a different phase. And you wouldn't have had to tell me that. It just validates what I've already been feeling and thinking that, yeah, we are. I feel the energy's changing. I see it in other people. And it's a choose your own adventure. I mean, you can choose to be down here at really a, very low frequency level, worrying about things that, do they really matter? I mean, or you can elevate yourself and say, you know what, I see through it. All of this is temporal anyway. It really doesn't matter. I am sucking the marrow out of life, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see things for what they are. I'm going to, see past that matrix and the shapes, the illusions, and get to the real source code. Is really what it comes down to, that source code that's written inside of you, and it's written inside of everybody. And there'll be some giant program that comes together and, changes the world. Blast off to another planet, go to the cosmic bus stop and, do it again. But I just feel like we're in that period, so it's important to, yes, definitely have some grace for other people. Not to the point where you lose, they vampire your energy, so to speak. Everybody's got their own journey. Everybody's got their own path. And we're not all on the same path sometimes. There are many paths to the top of the mountain. Some people don't want to climb the mountain. And that's okay. But I see it right now. That's where we're at. I feel that transition. I feel that shift. What's that bring? I don't know. I mean, it could bring the collapse of the dollar, and silver becomes money, and crypto's the new money, and ultimately it doesn't matter. We are the energy, and we just have to choose how we want to be living in a van down by the river and be happy, right? There's benefits to that. So trust yourself. I mean, really, you got to look inside. All truth comes from within, I believe, because you are part of the source. I mean, you are part of God's creation. I mean, you are in that image. You have to realize that and connect to that. I mean, it's not going through some middleman. I mean, it's not going through someone else telling you how to get there. It really isn't. Ultimately, you have to make that intimate, personal connection. And that's it. So you got to do it. All right. Well, I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. I mean, I love you all. I really do. And, just follow your path and trust yourself. And, try and love all the good things and love each other. And I think things will be better, and have a little bit of patience and grace. Don't get upset when you can't get ahead of that car that's coming. Just enjoy the ride. Sit in the canoe. Enjoy the scenery. When it hits the shore, then it's time to get out and look around. All right. Hope to see you in Vegas. Love you all.